Today we're going to talk about how to make a metric wrench, which is over here, and we're going to work on one end of the wrench. Some dimensions are given to us. This is the whole wrench. Some dimensions are not given to us. It's a bit of an annoying drawing when you look at it. Okay, we're going to focus on building one side of it for the purpose of figuring out some of these dimensions. The one dimension that is going to annoy us the most is the one we just talked about as a group, and that's this one. Hold on. Right here. That dimension right there. That's this one. The radius is given, but we don't know how deep into the part it's going. And that's because we don't know where the center of this radius is. It's the same problem you're going to have over here when you do this one. But this one you get to do on your own. Okay? So we have to assess and agree. To some degree, we might have to agree to just not agree where that's going to be. But on your detailed drawing, you must put it in the right... Wherever you put it, it must be clearly identified. Okay? Because you're not going to produce a drawing without that detail in it. That's the second project that you're working on. So first off, let's draw. We started a metric drawing. We did File, New, and we made sure to start in AutoCAD ISO, so remember to do that. Once you're in the drawing, now we look at this. I'm only going to focus on this end. So I'm going to start with a circle. The circle command is in the Draw toolbox set. The other way to get the circle is just hit C. First option is circle, second option is copy. C, enter. Now where do you want to put it? I always recommend start your first object, whatever it is, at 0, 0. Hit enter. So now you make sure you're starting at 0. The outside diameter isn't provided, but the radius is, and the outside radius is 16. So you type in 16 and hit enter. And then you zoom in by rolling your wheel forward to zoom, backward to zoom away. See that? Remember that? That's my mouse. Or double click on your middle wheel. Double click on your wheel and it'll take you there too. There. Now, from previous classes, you've learned how to draw angled lines. So we're going to go ahead, go in the line command. In order to get to the center of a circle, you have to actually move your mouse to the edge of the circle, not click, and it'll find the center. Then you could jump to the center. Please remember that. I'm going to draw a line out in the leftward direction and hit escape. There's my one line there. Now I'm going to rotate that line. I'm going to pick it. We talked about angle rotation already. Remember, the system works counterclockwise, counterclockwise. That was last class's conversation. 17 degrees is the magic number, so now it's at an angle. Okay. Okay. And now, 17 is the opening of this thing. 17 is the opening. So when we think about what that means, we're going to offset. We've done that before already, the offset command. And it's 17. So can I say 17 divided by 2 and hit enter? Yes. This is one of those commands you could do that. In other commands you can't. So you have to do the apostrophe cal, C-A-L, in order to get into the cal function. Showed you guys that before. So I go up and I go down. Okay? This is off the center. Now we know, we clearly can tell. If I don't think I can zoom into this thing. Hold on, let me try this again. Okay. When I zoom into this image, what do we clearly see? See this line? This is the center. So if I draw a line straight up just to reference something, see how this line that here references like where the center line is here, and that's where your dimension is right there. What do you notice about this first line up on top? Does it go a little past it? Yes. Do you see it going a little past it here? No. Gosh darn gee willikers. That's annoying. So the control feature is right here. It's radius 13. We need the nut that obviously a wrench is used for to open to go at least this far in. Okay, so this opening, if we use this dimension that we have here and stopped it here and said, okay, we're done, let's go. We'll put our radius there, right? Because we can, when you think about it. Is that a good idea? No, it'll be too shallow. The opening of that wrench will be too shallow. It has to go further in. The question is how far in, because the drawing we were provided by the customer was very poorly presented to us. We're guesstimating based on looking at their drawing. Looks like they made sure this was somewhere not quite to the center, but a little past it. See that? So instead of trying to finagle it, fudge it, we know what the radius is, right? So let's just draw a circle off on the side that has a radius of 13. We click on this circle and move it here. So the question is, does it end there? No. Certainly doesn't end all the way in there. So where on earth did they end this thing? And you see how you're trying to move it? There is no clean location. Even if I took this, I just left it over there. Even if I took this line, and what was that term? Well, how do we extend? Stretched it, remember? When we talked about how to stretch objects using the grips. Even if I stretched it out, see, we don't know exactly how far it extends in there. So what are we going to do? What's the most efficient thing to do? Now, your first answer shouldn't be, I'm going to call the customer and ask them to clarify it. Depending on the customer, that might be a little annoying. Sometimes what you do, the best way to question a customer is to start with a solution. Meaning that you give them something and say, is this correct? Did you hear the way I said that? That's how you question a customer. It wasn't identified on the drawing, but it's a way of saying, it wasn't identified on the drawing, but I'm a competent enough individual to come up with a reasonable solution, not necessarily a good one, and give you an idea. And if this is wrong, now you can tell me what's right. Did you hear the way I said that? That would be the correct approach. You don't walk up to them or you don't call them and say, I can't figure out your drawing. You need to tell me everything. Oh, no. That's not going to work. You have to give them something and then you can go from there. So that's something. If I take this arc and bring it over here, if I drag it to this point, that something could be as simple as dragging it so it's close enough. See where the close enough part I can't show you with my finger on the screen. I'm unable to do this because I don't have a touch screen that I'm working with here. But if you look at that intersection, let me change these two colors and I'll show you. If I am pointing at these two soon to be very thick lines, the display line wait, see those two lines that I made blue? See those? If I move this thing in relationship to the center and drag it down, make sure you're using tracking to do this. Drag it down that angle. If I get close to the intersection, see that? Close to it. I can get really picky and try to get right on it, but I'm not going to be. If I get close to it and I just click once, see where this intersection is? And I extend this line out. That would be something that I can then, I can trim this all back. That's something I could then show to my customer and say, once I'm done with this drawing, I can dimension it. I can dimension where the center of this thing is. And then my customer can say, yes, that's fine. Or no, that's not fine. Get it? I'm giving them something versus nothing. And all I did, to be honest, was kind of fudge it. See that? See that location? And that we do that a lot. In the world of engineering, we live in ambiguity. Nothing is always handed to us. That's the fun part of the job. Some people don't like ambiguity. In our case, we like it. That's the point. It's okay if the answer's not there. We'll give you a possible solution. You tell us if you like it. And the actual answer is whatever the customer tells you. All right? Whatever the customer tells you. Now, the customer might say, that's not a critical dimension, so I don't care. As long as it's that far in, it's fine. So whatever you did was okay. You might get that answer. That's the answer you're going to get from your customer here, because who's your customer here? Me. Because I want you to learn a little bit of ambiguity, and I want you to accept it. School is always about yes and no answers, right? But real life is not. So this is an example of where that fits into this equation. All right? So I don't have an exact answer for you. But when you do the detail drawing for this thing, you will give the exact answer, wherever you chose to put it. But where you choose to put it must be past the center mark. See that? Doesn't have to be all the way in, just a little past it, because that's what you see on the image. All right? Past the center mark. Okay? That's my advice to anybody who would come up to me off the street and say, how should I draw this? I would say this to them as well, with a caveat that you have to clarify with the customer that they like it. Never assume that the dimensions you selected are the dimensions. They're not. The only person who will tell you, yes, they're the dimensions is the customer, not you. All right? So that's what I want you to remember when you're doing this drawing. That's the biggest thing to pick up here. Now, with that in mind, now when you pick the dimensions and you go in and you drop in your aligned dimensions, everything will be perfect. This thing will be exactly 17 on the millimeters, and the radius will be exactly what it needs to be, 13. Okay, that's a given. The key will be in detailing out where you chose that center to exist. Okay, that's all. You'll just have to identify to the customer where you chose that center to be. All right? I'm not going to show it on here because then you're going to think it's the one I put on here. It's not. I want you to understand that. And that's how you would handle, because I know this question is going to come up, that's how you will handle this side as well. The exact same approach. Okay? As far as the fillets are concerned, all of this, these radiuses, remember to draw your center line across. Okay? Offset. Now if I just type in 11 divided by 2, yeah, I know it's 10, I'm sorry, I know it's 5.5. But I'm doing that so you understand that you can use a little bit of math within the software. Then you can offset, offset. And then this is fillet. The fillet command is found in the same place chamfer is found. When you hit fillet, just like chamfer, you can't touch anything. The first thing you got to do is right mouse button and pick radius. And the radius in this case is 47 for that side. You pick the object and the other object. Hit enter. Hit the object, the one object, then the other object. Done. Isn't that beautiful? That's how you make those necks. That's how you do that. That's the radius command. Okay? Everything else on this drawing you've already done before. I only discussed the two things that are unique. End of video.